Hey everyone, Zeddy here with another card review, and I've been losing my mind over a lot of these cards lately. Yeah, I'm about to lose my mind even more. We're gonna need a fundamental change to a certain card in Hearthstone. I'm pretty sure this next expansion, because I am outright terrified. You've never heard that before. I've never been wrong before, but I am outright terrified. We'll get into it. Before we do, though, you're gonna want to win some of these terrifying cards because we have a giveaway going on for Murder Castle Nathria, giving away 3 mega bundles, 2 regular pre-orders. All you have to do is like and comment on the video in the description below. The one we're looking at, the one I dislike, it's terrible content. Except you have to like it if you want to enter. Haha. And subscribe to the channel. For every 1,000 subs we hit until the card reveal season is over, I'm adding another mega bundle. There's no limit. So hit that subscribe button, make me go broke. We're already a quarter of a way through the next 1,000 after a couple days. So you guys are trying your hardest to make me go broke. So hit that button. So what's making me lose my mind for the billionth time? Well, let's take a look. There's a couple Druid cards here. We got Nightshade Bud. This one, pretty good. We have 8 mana nature spell. Choose one, discover a minion from your deck or a spell to cast. You're looking at what kind of minions you want to discover. Well, you can hit a colossal minion. You can hit like Neptulon, and that's at 8 mana Neptulon. It summons, it'll get its extensions, all of that. That's pretty good. You can ramp into this. You can discount it with like a nature studies and wild and all of that stuff. You can hit in wild a Malagos. By the way, I saw a comment. Anytime there's a card that can cheat out a minion, this could summon Malagos, and yes, I love Malagos. It's probably my favorite card in Hearthstone history, so I bring it up all the time. How dare you get up? I mean, it's a cool card, and it's only in Wild now, except for there's that standard version, but that just draws spells. It's just a 4/12. So is this card that great? I'm not sold on it in standard. However, of course, we'll get to the elephant in the room when we talk about the next card. I'm going to put it all together because I want to kind of just lump it together. This major concern I have going forward. But Nightshade Bud, yeah, it's definitely a card you really have to build around. You need to specifically cheat out something really good, whether it's a Neptulon, a Malagos, a Lady Anacondra. That's what we're going to talk about in a second. Because for 8 mana, it's got to be pretty good. However, I don't think people would be spending 8 mana on this if they're playing it. So, and the spell part, I think, is pretty irrelevant. In Wild, there's probably, like, the only spell really worth hitting I can even think of is pretty much in Wild, which is Survival of the Fittest. 10 mana spell, it buffs all your stuff. You're cheating that out, right? That's a mana cheat engine. You don't really want to spend this on, I guess Miracle Growth is like decent, but that's an 8 mana spell itself, but you're tutoring it out, right? And there's nothing that can go wrong for it with being cast target wise. So I think it has utility in that regard, but as an 8 mana spell, it's pretty weak. However, alignment, right? Alignment, that's what we're going to talk about, makes this either 1 or 0 mana, and that's incredibly good. So this will go into alignment decks, I'm almost certain, because this can find another alignment to cast, right? It's even more redundancy for the alignment decks, and it's just like, oh man, it's either hitting a Lady Anacondra after you've alignmented another minion like that, or it just finds your alignment. So for that reason, until alignment gets rightfully killed, and we're going to talk about why it's so important after the next card, I have to give this like a 4 out of 5 in standard, a 4 out of 5 in Wild, because both formats, that card is extremely relevant. It's top tier at the moment in standard. It's top tier at the moment in Wild with like Mechathune variants and Togwoggle variants or whatever you want. It's just, I think it's a mechanic that most people find very frustrating and toxic, and Nightshade Bud's just going to make it better, in my opinion, because you find more abilities to cast it, and you can just, again, play this really hard afterwards, and I just don't think it's healthy for the game. And well, speaking of healthy for the game, this is the card that has already been nerfed once. It's already been nerfed. If you saw Rarran's reveal for this card, Convoke the Spirits, it would cast 10 random Druid spells, targets chosen randomly. Well, now it's 8. It's already been nerfed in their like initial playtest. And yes, this is a nature spell, so Lady Anacondra, alignment. That is what has me terrified with this. If you have to cast 10 like spend 10 mana to play Convoke the Spirits, it's like a kind of a bad puzzle box. Like you look at spells in Druid right now, for the most part, like you have Nightshade Bud, which is pretty good. You have Miracle Growth. Scales has like, there's a lot of anti-synergy, like Scale can fill the board, then you can cast Flipper Friends or mill yourself with the Composting. But it can also cast Alignment. It can cast pointless stuff like Pounce and Innervate. It's like mage spells or just spells in general are typically a lot better than random Druid spells. Someone who's played a lot of Druid, you don't have a ton of hard removal, so you're not likely clearing the board. You're likely going to draw a bunch of cards, get a bunch of unnecessary ramp, and maybe get some attack or armor buffs. You might get a bunch of tokens and board fill or whatever, but for 10 mana, I don't think it's probably worth running. But if you're playing this for 0, after you play Anacondra, you're not going to destroy your own stuff. There's almost no hard removal in Druid, so it's basically risk-free, and you're getting a lot of card draw, a lot of insanity, and that's where the problem lies for me. Is every time we get a cool, like, or a ridiculous big card, whether it's a minion, a spell, alignment just ruins the fun of it. Like, I can't get that excited about Convoke the Spirits, about the madness of casting Solar Eclipse, Convoke the Spirits in Wild, right? That'd be 16 random Druid spells, although how many times am I going to cast Astral Communion on myself, or Tree of Life and Mulch and Naturalize? Like, in Wild, it's ridiculous what could happen. You have Survival of the Fittest, like I mentioned earlier. The card's a spectacular meme that could have playability like a puzzle box, like Yogg. I can't help but be like, can we just kill alignment? Can we not have to deal with this crap so that a card like this isn't 0 mana? This card should never cost 0, but it can reliably cost 1 or 0 in Standard, in Wild, and I do think it'll see play for mainly that reason. You do have Guff and Ramp and stuff like that where you can realistically play this in the deck, but it's 10 mana at the end of the day. So I'm gonna give it a 4 to 5 in Standard. In Wild, I feel like it's way too big a risk to play. There's too much random garbage in the Druid pool. So I will give it I'll give it a 3. I'll say it'll see maybe fringe play, but please Blizzard, can we, like, alignment has been such a problem. It's so toxic. I would just love to see a change to it so I could get a little bit more excited about silly nonsense like this. And lastly, we have a new pre-spell, a new AoE. This was revealed by Ali Straza. By the way, her reveal just came out. You guys have to check it out. She did a great job. She's like, clean it up. She's like Mr. Clean, Mrs. Clean, all that. Really fun video. So shout out to Ali Straza. Clean the Scene, 5 mana epic spell. You destroy all minions with 3 or less attack. That includes your own. But if you infuse 3, which Priest is going to struggle with, they don't play a lot of minions unless you're playing like Naga Priest, right? They'll be playing stuff for that. Then you don't really want to play this. 6 or less. So this kills like anything outside of giant minions. That's pretty darn good. But again, the strength of this card for like a control priest deck is going to be reliant on getting that infuse to go. Destroying 3 or less attacks, pretty good actually. Even at 5 mana, that I think about it, like it kills most pretty much all tokens, mid-range minions, against a rogue. Like Boat Rogue's very popular right now. If you think about their minions, they're all like 3 attack, whether it's the Knoll, the Boat, the 1 mana 3/1 pirate, like all it doesn't kill is like Krakatoa for the most part, or like a big Edwin. So this will do a good job of cleaning up token based decks, early base decks. Can fit into Quest Priest as your 5 drop, could go into like a Death Rattle build. And again, if you're playing a Death Rattle build, you're having Death Rattle minions die, your infuse is more likely to go off. So and you're also probably not as like you're not going to be as worried about destroying your own minions, because again, this is a double-sided effect. It doesn't just kill your opponent's stuff. So I think it's a pretty good AoE for priest. It's a holy spell, so you can discount it. There's some implications. You could draw it with your spirit guide. There's plenty of utility for this card. It just doesn't fit into a certain deck, and I could see it like in a quest priest. And again, that deck runs minions. You got to run 2, 3, and 4 drops for the most part, but the 3 infuse is definitely tricky to get off, but I don't think it's mandatory. I think the card as a standalone, even without the infuse 3, is pretty good, and with infuse 3 can be, well, game winning against certain decks where it'll clear basically everything outside of like 8/8 giants or like giant colossal minions, right? So I think it'll see play. I think it'll see play at least in standard. It certainly has a chance in those deck types I have mentioned. I will give it a 3 out of 5. I don't think it's like mind-blowing. I don't think it's amazing. I just think it's a good, decent removal that's very meta dependent, also infuse dependent and all that. And in wild, you have better options, I think. I think you'd rather a mass hysteria. It's better than like an excavated evil, but when's the last time people are running excavated evil? I think mass hysteria would take the spot most times in those type of control-y priest decks, but maybe you consider it. Big priest, you're resummoning stuff and then you infuse this, but if you're already resummoning stuff in big priest, you probably already won the game, and well, you're not going to kill off your own stuff because it's 6 or less, and in big priest, I guess if we played Neptulon, it has the 4 attack extensions it could kill, but still, I'll give it a 2 in wild. I think there's better options, but overall, yeah, solid priest card. So there you go. I'll have one more review tomorrow morning, and then there's like nothing over the weekend. I think Tice has a review reveal tomorrow morning. There's one later tonight. We'll save it for tomorrow morning, and then we'll have like a little bit of a break until next week when it should be the final week of reveals. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends. And please, please nerf alignment, please.